What would happen if you were suddenly and unexpectedly unable to come to work? How would that affect your family, your business, and your life? We had the opportunity to talk with Molly with Empower Financial Group about how to protect your business and your family in this situation. You're going to want to stick around for this. Welcome to Sweet Independence, the podcast for beauty professionals ready to build the business of their dreams. I'm Kristen Kinzel, founder of Utopia Modern Salon Suites. With 34 years in this industry, I've seen firsthand the power of independence and community. We'll ditch the stress, unlock your potential, and give you the clarity and confidence to thrive. Get ready to transform your career and build the fulfilling life you deserve. Your flourishing future starts now. So we had this great opportunity fall into our laps. We have Molly here with Empower Financial Group. She is visiting our salons this week from St. Louis, where she lives. She travels all over the country. She'll tell us more about that later. But we've had the pleasure of having her in our suites. On Tuesday, she was at one of our East Side salons, and Wednesday, and today she's out here west with me. So we just decided to crash her meetings that she's having with our beauty professionals and get her on camera here for a second to do a podcast telling what she does. So welcome to Wichita. Thank you for being here and visiting our salons. We are enjoying your presence. She's buying everybody lunch and bringing cupcakes. So that's always fun. We are all motivated by food. But what I love about what they are bringing here is some opportunities for benefits that are extremely beneficial to beauty professionals. And since you're the expert, I'm just going to let you tell us about that.
Thank you, Kristen, for having me. So again, I'm Molly with Empower Financial Group. I'm an account manager with Empower, and we are focused on bringing salon suite style beauty professionals access to benefits. And the tricky challenge is you're in business for yourself, and there is a lot to protect. So Utopia has partnered with Empower to bring those benefits in and get the professionals access to things like health insurance, dental and vision insurance, life and retirement options. And then one of the most important pieces is income protection against accidents, sicknesses, major critical illnesses, life events, pregnancy, and making sure that when life happens, because it will, it's not if, it's when, you are able to protect your business and keep your business afloat.
I remember as a hairstylist for 35 years, every time I did something crazy, snow skiing, water skiing, anything fun, all I could think about was, I can't break my arm, I can't get hurt, because my income would vanish. It would go away instantly. And, you grow to depend on that income. So those things have to be kept in mind. I wish that I had had access to something like this and had someone bring you in and share.
Yeah.
So
when you think back to before Utopia, when you had your salon or your suite, when you hear the word benefits, what kind of price point comes to mind? What are you thinking?
I think I just didn't know. I've had the experience of being on my husband's health insurance benefit plan, but I didn't have anything in place for if I were to cut myself terribly or break my arm doing something fun. So I think if it would have been brought to me and if I would have learned about what could be provided and what the cost would be, that would have been very interesting.
Yeah. So I actually just wrapped up a conversation with one of the professionals here over at Tyler Point, and she was almost surprised today. It was less than maybe a quarter of the cost of one of her average service costs for her to protect 60% of her gross income. Again, 24/7 against any type of accident, and a $20,000 payout if she has a heart attack, a stroke, a kidney failure, any cancer diagnosis. So I think her eyes about bugged out of her head. She's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think it would be.
So tell me again, it was what percentage of one of her services?
Yeah, so her services, I don't know if I want to share her average price of her services, but for her services, it was about a quarter of the cost of one of her services.
Wow.
A week.
So one client a month, 1/5 of that revenue would cover all of these things.
About one client a month.
Interesting.
And a peace of mind that her suite rent would be paid, any other business expenses that she has regularly, and also her income to pay her regular bills and her household bills. And she had multiple kids. I'm sure when she listens to this podcast, she'll know what conversation I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's
what have you seen happen? When have you seen your benefits fall into play for people?
So Empower, just to plug Empower serves over 200,000 beauty professionals nationally. So when you were saying, hey, I'm here in St. Louis, I'm the closest agent for Wichita. So, hey, I'm only a few hours away. But all across the country, we have claims happening every single day. We've got a claims manager who helps with those claims because it's tricky when stuff happens. But yeah, so as far as where we see claims, this week alone, we've had professionals that are out with their babies for pregnancy purposes.
How nice that must be to not worry and not feel strapped for your rent money, your income, and your medical bills.
Well, and actually here, even at the Utopia, one of your East Side professionals, her new baby is only a few months old. Mm-hmm. She didn't know about income protection for maternity services, and she saved for her baby when she found out she was expecting, but she also didn't have income when she was out for the first couple months. So traditional delivery is 6 weeks, cesarean is 8 weeks, and then if, heaven forbid, there are any complications, you can typically see some income protection further.
That's amazing. What I love about this, from my perspective, is that it ensures my rents. Mm-hmm. You know, I like to try to work with people, but you know, there's only so much we can do. So this gives me added peace of mind that they are protected. And so together, you know, they're still going to be able to maintain their lifestyle and their business.
Absolutely. And I mean, it ensures rent for them. It also ensures peace of mind that you can go have that precious time. It truly protects their business. When you work for yourself, who's the biggest asset to your business in the beauty world?
You're the only revenue provider in your business.
We had another professional who, actually, I'll even speak, the same accident coverage that you guys have access to here, I've personally used. I hit my head on a shelf at my house. Really lame story, but I hit my head on a shelf, and I had my copays covered and had a little extra boost to fill in some out-of-pocket expenses for something as minor as hitting my head and having a little concussion.
How nice.
But, yeah, I didn't forget about it, unfortunately. But yeah, that the same exact accident coverage, that's just a personal experience, something more really minor. Yeah. One of the professionals that partners with Empower for business protection services, she actually had a son who was diagnosed with cancer. Mm. And her income, she was grossing over $100,000 annually. And that stopped because she needed to be with her child. Mm-hmm. And so that critical illness payout helped her stay afloat financially for a while she was out, while her son was in treatment. Yeah.
We just had something happen this past summer at this location. We had a beauty professional who is excellent at what she does, and her services were very specialized, and she was the only one in the area who provided these services. The demand for her was just incredible. And she had, again, I'm trying to not be too revealing and protect her privacy, but she had a autoimmune disease that affected her joints and ligaments and stuff. She literally woke up one day and the hand that she uses to do her job and provide her income wouldn't work. Her fingers dropped and she couldn't work. So she went to the doctor hoping that it would just be something brief and simple that could be fixed. Maybe, you know, rest a few days and it'll come back. And unfortunately, she found out she needed major surgery that was the only way to fix this, and that she would be out for 3 to 6 months recovering. And she's the sole income provider in her household. So that was really devastating. And so when Travis with Empower reached out to me, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was somewhat of a cold call, but it happened. He reached out to me simultaneous to that incident. So everybody in this salon space was aware of it. You know, all of a sudden, where'd she go? Why isn't she here? And we all know that could happen, but we don't see it happen. And so when you don't see it happen very often, you kind of tend to not believe that, well, it could, but it won't. But when it did, we were all affected. We noticed she wasn't here. And she's someone who was here every hour this salon was open. She was here, and her demand was extreme, like I said. So that happens simultaneously with Travis reaching out. And that's a lot of what brought us into bringing you in.
Well, and even so, like for anybody considering working with Utopia and partnering with you, having peace of mind that if your hand stopped working, whether it's because of an accident or a sickness, that individual would have had 60% of her gross income, whether it was 3 months
That
or
would have been
6
a
months.
game changer in her
Life-changing.
life. Life changing.
Wouldn't have to touch savings, maybe tap into retirement,
Yes.
or ask family or friends who they may not have those funds to help. It could have really, I mean, you can always say that it could have, but you can't rewind the clock. But
I wish we could. It
Her
would have-
financial situation would be so different.
Yeah.
And that stuff happens all the time. But one of the professionals that works with one of my fellow account managers, 7 days after her policy started, she got in a car accident. She was out of work, and 7 days into the policy, she had a claim happening. Nobody plans for a car accident.
No.
It's extremely likely to happen for the car accident, but
And we all drive every day, so we're
Yep.
at risk of that
so
happening.
not only the accident policy, accident protection helped with the out-of-pocket expenses with the accident, but the income protection also helped with any time she was out of work. There is no waiting period at all for an accident.
Wow. I have a question. So I think the burning question in our minds when we're talking about something like this is, what does it cost? And I know you can't give me quotes, but can you give me a range of the cost and how it compares to other things, and explain how you make it affordable to these people?
Yeah, so health insurance is going to be your biggest elephant in the room. Health insurance, unfortunately, is relatively expensive. And so
There's no way around that.
There's no way around health insurance. Our focus, depending on a beauty professional's income level, is, hey, can we help subsidize that cost? Can we take advantage of any credits for health insurance? So we can help in that space. Dental and vision is the cost of a coffee a week.
Oh, wow.
A nice coffee a week to protect yourself with dental, vision, and hearing all in one. And that is directly as a result of Empower working with carriers and negotiating the pricing, because it's over 200,000 professionals instead of just one person going to apply or going to search for a policy. The business protection portion from a pricing standpoint is going to look at how old are you and how much is your gross income. But from a pricing standpoint, it's going to be about the cost of one service a month. Yeah. And so when you think about, hey, I have this whole business riding on my back, I can use one service a month or part of a service a week to protect my business and protect me as the asset to my business.
I think the peace of mind is what gives it the most value.
Well, and personally, in the insurance world, most account managers or insurance agents are independent, just like a beauty professional. I carry the same exact type of coverage because if I can't do my job, I'm not being able to pay my bills and feed my family, and my husband and I are relying on my income too.
Yeah.
So same exact experience.
So for someone who's just starting out as a beauty professional, what is the basic plan you recommend? What is the minimum coverage that you recommend for them?
So when you view yourself as the asset to your business, you need to protect your income. Now that can look a couple of ways, but the focus is, how long could you go without being able to provide your services? And no one's ever planning for something to happen to them. We aren't planning for that, anything unexpected. So really looking at income protection, helping against accidents, helping against major diagnoses, but that income protection piece should be an absolute priority. I mean, and quite frankly, if they're just starting out, their gross wages may not be where they want it to be in 5 years. It's going to be very reasonably priced. And I'm sitting here saying that, looking at pricing every single day. It is extremely reasonable.
I have a question. So as the beauty professional grows and his or her income increases, do the rates adjust alongside that?
Yes. So if I'm sitting here today and I want to partner with Empower, with Utopia being my access point, I'm going to look at my gross wages as I sit in this chair today.
Okay.
But if in 6 months or a year, my gross significantly changes, well, we get used to spending the money that we earn, or we get used to saving, or whatever it may be, based upon our gross going up. You can then adjust your policy based upon your next set of gross wages. We always suggest, at a minimum, reevaluate that every single year, because it's never going to go backwards. You know, once you're locked in at that initial gross wages, and then let's say it goes up thousands of dollars a month, That is the goal with building a business, right? Or maybe not. It depends on your household, right? But if you have that increase, you're able to adjust that upwards of 60% of your gross.
So do you follow up and stay in touch with them, or is that something you put on them to update you as things change?
Both. So the reason I say both is Empower, in partnering with Utopia, wants to be at the salon locations at minimum every year. But life does happen. And so if we're not slated to be in person for 6 months, that doesn't mean you're not family planning or you're not wanting to protect your business starting the next month. So you can also, Kristen can share the contact information and you can reach out and we can enroll you even if we're not physically on site. So the answer is a little twofold. We can't be a mind reader and know when someone starts their suite with Utopia, but we will also be on site every single year.
So what is the advantage of us partnering with Empower to offer this over other competitors?
Yeah. So I will definitely defer some of that. I don't want to steal the thunder of our leadership team who has spent years developing Empower. But when you sit down with an Empower account manager like myself, you are sitting down with someone that cares passionately about your business. So if you're just going online and looking at insurance coverages, you don't have someone talking to you about how can this impact you financially? What is your health background like? And what is your family situation? What is your personal health history, your family health history, and diving into what is so important to you? Because if people wanted to get coverages, they can just go online and take a look. But one step further with that, Empower, with having over 200,000 beauty professionals, has rates on these coverages that you cannot get on your own. You also are going to see benefit structure or payouts on different claims that, hey, yeah, maybe you are able to get income protection elsewhere, but is it going to protect as much of your income, or is the policy going to start right away when you're out of work? So you're getting access to plans that are more than likely lower cost because of Empower's access to the carriers, and also exactly how does this fit my business? You're getting a one-on-one consultation for what is my business like, because no two beauty professionals and their salons are going to be the same.
I love how Empower has really immersed themselves into understanding our industry so that you can better provide more tailored coverage for beauty industry professionals.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anyone else who does that. There may be someone, but I think that's very unique. And I always appreciate partners who do invest and get to know the business and the risks that come along with it.
And it's absolutely an honor to be able to be here in Utopia. And Kristen, just to plug Utopia, I have been so impressed with the professionals.
Thank you.
Just the look and feel and just the energy when you walk into your salon. So thank you for the opportunity to let Empower partner with you.
I appreciate that coming from you. You've been in a lot of salons.
Yes, I have. But your salon is just fantastic. And it really, there's a lot of passion in your salons, and it's awesome.
Well, great. I appreciate that. We are happy to have you. It's been fun we're all motivated by food. So when you say you're bringing lunch and cupcakes, we get excited. It makes for a better day. And I love that, as I brought you in, I have the trust of these people. And so I had to be careful. I never want to offer them up to someone who's going to solicit them or bring them something marginal. So I've appreciated that they trusted me enough to talk with you and trust you. And I hope that you're setting a lot of people up for success,
Thank you.
Even in their worst day. And this has been very valuable to us. You've been fun to have in the salons.
Thank you.
And I didn't know that you were coming back every year, so I'm excited about that.
Well, hopefully it'll be me, but it could be a peer account manager of mine, depending on schedules and all that stuff. But the other thing too that I'll say is your culture that you've built at Utopia. I've got a text from one of your professionals saying, "Let me get on your calendar. I trust what Kristen's bringing in." So I hadn't told you that yet. So there's your candid reaction to that text. But I got a message this morning saying, what time can I meet with you? Because I trust what Kristen brings to us.
Is that unusual when you're going into these spaces?
Obviously we're a trusted partner that you're bringing in with Utopia, but a lot of times it's me coming in and saying, hey, what time works for you? So it is a little, not unusual. We do have it happen, but just to hear how much they value your relationship.
Well, thank you, Molly, for being game, for being very spontaneous and being in when I said, hey, let's quick do a podcast. This is an opportunity I wanted to capture. I love what you're bringing. I've enjoyed having you in the salons this week. So thank you so much for all the information you've shared. I think it would be really interesting if we could bring on the founders and set up something where we can dive a little deeper with them and share their story.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I know that the founders would absolutely love that opportunity as well.
That'd be good. Thank you for joining us for this episode with Molly with Empower. We hope you will subscribe to our podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it.
This show is part of the ICT Podcast Network. For more information, visit ictpod.net.